Final Fantasy VII, the original one. The story is set on the planet of Gaia in the city of Midgar. We play as Cloud, a mercenary hired by the eco-terrorist group Avalanche. But he only cares about the money, doesn't really care about the trees and shit. An evil energy manufacturing company called Shinra Inc. is harvesting the life energy of the planet, known as the Life Stream, and from it they are extracting Mako energy. Wait, what's Mako energy?
Basically gas.
It's green petrol. So the group's goal is to blow up the North Reactor and stop the harvesting of the green fuel, G-fuel, as they believe that harvesting it will eventually destroy the planet. Barret, the leader of Avalanche, is distrusting of Cloud, as he was once a part of Soldier. It's a military faction, and it's owned by Shinra.
Cloud reaches the reactor and sets the bomb to blow.
What's that joke in Futurama? We set the bomb to 15 minutes. No, 5 minutes. No, wait, 114 minutes?
They escape the facility just as the bomb blows, destroying one of 8 reactors.
Many innocent people are killed. Thank you, brave heroes. They split up, and then they arrange to meet up in a particular spot. So Cloud goes a separate way, but then he's surrounded by Shinra soldiers, and he has to jump off a bridge, and onto a train to escape. Very cool. The crew is on the train, and Cloud meets back up with them.
Here they explain how Midgar is split into 2 levels and 8 sectors, with the bottom level being the slums. They go back to their hideout, which is a bar. Here we meet Cloud's childhood friend Tifa, who is also a member of Avalanche.
Wait, is there a reason they call it Avalanche?
At least it's more creative than Soldier.
It's true. Barret holds a meeting. He questions Cloud on his motives. He said, why don't you care about anything but money? What's wrong with you? Don't you want to blow up stuff for the sake of it?
Explosions don't buy food, guys.
But Tifa begs Cloud, come on, you gotta join Avalanche. Cloud doesn't want to join, but Tifa convinces him through a flashback of when they were both younger. Remember how you were younger and I was also younger? Join Al-Qaeda, come on. Well, I guess you're right. And Cloud promises Tifa that he'll save her if anything bad ever happens. Anything bad. You're in a restaurant and the food just comes late.
Barret then pays him, and Cloud agrees to go on the next mission for more cash money. They head off to destroy Reactor 5, once again catching the train.
But as they're traveling on the train, suddenly there's an alert. It says that there's unidentified passengers on the train, and now there's a lockdown. So they have to jump off the train and make their way to Reactor 5 on foot.
They make it to the reactor, but when in front of it, Cloud has a flashback to Tifa's dad being killed by Sephiroth, the leader of Soldier, and she vows revenge on all of Shinra. They set the bomb, and they go to leave.
But they're caught in a trap. The president of Shinra then comes down personally to say, we've been expecting you, Avalanche. Then he releases an attack drone. Cloud defeats the drone, but then it self-destructs and destroys the bridge, causing Cloud to fall. He grabs onto the edge with his square hand, but when the avalanche bomb blows up, it sends Cloud tumbling into the slums below. Cloud is awoken by Eris, a flower girl.
As they chat, she reveals that she has a materia that seems to do absolutely nothing.
A man in black enters the church. Oh no, says Aerith. I need to hire you, Cloud, to take me home.
It'll cost you.
Alright, what's the price?
One date.
She agrees, and Cloud and Aerith sneak out the back. Cloud then recognizes the uniform as that of the Turks, Shinra's elite military, and he asks her why the Turks are after her.
I don't know.
Cloud drops Aerith home, and then asks for directions back to the bar. Aerith says she'll show him the way, and they head off. Is this the date? But as they're taking a break on their journey, Cloud sees a carriage passing by with Tifa in it. The carriage leads them to the Wall Market, an exceptionally seedy place, even for the slums. They find out that Tifa is at a local brothel, where she is being interviewed as a potential wife for crime boss Don Corneo. Cloud tries to get into Don Corneo's house, but he's only accepting women, which is not very progressive of him. So Aerith suggests that he dress up like a lady and sneak in, which he then does. He and Aerith go to the mansion. They find Tifa and talk to her. She says, actually, I'm not here to earn some cash. I heard that Don Corneo may have some insider info on Shinra.
The 3 ladies present themselves to the Don, who picks Cloud, obviously the hottest there, as his bride for the night. Just as the sexy times are about to happen, Ares and Tifa burst in to save Cloud.
Wait, before? Wait till after. Is this that date?
Don reveals that Heidegger, the head of public safety for Shinra, had hired him to sniff out Avalanche. Shinra plans to drop the whole Sector 7 plate on them, destroying Avalanche and Sector 7.
This doesn't make any bloody sense. We're gonna take out 4 guys, bomb London. Cut to Shinra headquarters. Heidegger is getting ready to drop the plate. steady. But Reeve is concerned about the overkill, and that it's a bit much to kill an entire sector for one eco-terrorist group, don't you fucking think? But the president of Shinra dismisses Reeve. He says you will go on vacation now to Sector 7, and reveals his plan to hide again. He plans to set another bomb on the reactor, blame Avalanche, and then look good by handling the rescue and relief operation. Actually, hold on a minute, this plan makes good sense. Reactor 7, listen inside job. Mako can't melt steel plates.
Back to the gang. Cloud, Ares, and Tifa rush to Sector 7, but see Avalanche fighting a losing battle.
They send Eris off to get Barret's daughter, Marlene, to safety.
They are too late to stop the Turks from arming the bomb. The leader of the Turks, Tsung, comes up and explains the bomb cannot be disarmed.
And also, now I have the last of the ancients, as he grabs Eris in his grasp. He leaves as the pillar explodes. Barret finds a cable and swings them out of the sector. Got a cable the length of the sector? That cable would have to be about 10 miles long. Back to Cloud and the gang as they look for Ares the Ancient. They go to Ares' home and her mum tells her that she is the sole survivor of the Ancient. Why didn't you say that as the first thing? We get some backstory about Ares. She's adopted and her real parents are dead. But the Shinra also found her and tried to explain that as an Ancient, she could lead them to the Promised Land. What's the Promised Land?
It's basically what everybody's trying to get to in this game. It's filled with unlimited Mako.
Is the Promised Land on the planet or is it like in the heavens? Anyway, they're trying to stuff themselves in an oil well, it sounds like. But Eris always denies that she's an ancient. I ain't an ancient. You got the wrong guy. But Shinra says that's not good enough, and also you're coming with us. And she goes, I ain't going with you. And you go, oh, well, we'll kill some people. How about Marlene? You go, no, I will sacrifice myself in order to save you, Marlene. And Barret says thanks. Do you want to do the Barret voice? I don't want to be cancelled. He's just Australian now. Oh, cheers, Aerith. I'll promise to save you, even if that means storming the Shinra HQ directly. Oh, thanks. That's exactly what's needed. So they go and sneak into the Shinra HQ. The crew then goes up the vent to do some spying. They spy on the Shinra board meeting, and they're saying,
there's quite a lot of sheer destruction in Sector 7, but I don't really care because I'm the president and I'm choosing to follow the Neo Midgar plan instead, which is to follow Ares, who doesn't really like us, to the Promised Land. I think that's the go.
How explicit. Then a scientist, Hojo, comes in and says,
Aerith is not as good an ancient as her mother, and she never will be. I think we should breed her and try for better ancients, because this one's a bit shit.
The gang then follows him back to the lab. Cloud then sees a sealed chamber labeled Genova. He looks inside, and he sees a mutilated corpse, and his head starts ringing. Oh my god.
Once he's away from the chamber, they confront Hojo. He remains calm and continues on with his experiments. He brings in a rare endangered animal and Ares, and he says,
we're gonna have to breed these two together to save them both. Wait, is that the plan?
Yeah.
Why does that save either species by making a half-dog baby? Appalled by the experiment, Barret shoots at the cell, causing it to overload and forcing Hojo to open the chamber. This thing is red, and he leaps out and attacks Hojo. You know what they should have done for the remake? They should have always stopped the scene after it was too late. So they go to save Tifa from Corneo, but it's too late. It's after the sex scene. They have their awful encounter, and then afterwards he goes, ha, I was Cloud all along. And then Aerith and Red are getting it on, and then afterwards Cloud shows up and goes, I'm here to save you. Always missing it by like the 20-minute window. Everyone's lives are changed forever because they always just stopped off for lunch first.
The K9 senses a monster coming and warns the crew that they have to leave.
Oh, you can speak.
Woof.
It then joins the crew, calling itself Red 13. But as they try to escape, they're caught by the Turks and taken to the president of Shinra's office. The president believes very strongly in the Promised Land, and he believes that Aerith will take him there, and he plans to construct a new empire there, Neo Midgar.
Couldn't come up with a better name.
Midgar 2. Then he finishes gloating and throws them in a cell next to Aerith. You guys plot amongst yourselves. I'll be back later. He then asks Aerith about the Promised Land. He doesn't really know anything. I'm just an orphan. Why would I know anything? Anyway, the next morning, Cloud wakes up and the cell door is open, and the guards are slaughtered. They quickly realize that the Genova specimen has escaped, and following the trail of blood, they go to the president's office, who's now dead. He was killed by a unique blade belonging to Sephiroth. a legendary but missing first-class soldier. They see Palmer, the head of the Shinra space program,
who's very quick to spill out that Sephiroth was here and he wouldn't let the president go to the Promised Land. No Promised Land for you.
The crew wonders if he's a good guy. No, says Cloud. Sephiroth is bad. Outside, Vice President Rufus, the president's son, pulls up in a helicopter to claim his new title.
Rufus wants to do things a bit different to his dad, but does still want the Promised Land with all that sweet, sweet Mako. Guys, can we produce Mako some other way other than sucking the life form out of our planet? Maybe some Mako windmills?
But Cloud says no. No, they fight, but Rufus escapes and the building is surrounded. Thinking quickly, they hop onto some display vehicles in the lobby and they jump onto the adjacent highway. Now it's time for a car chase scene.
Cloud is fending off the pursuers on his motorbike with his sword. Hi-yah!
I'm just an old lady and I'm crossing the road. And at the end of the road, the crew's confused about where to go next, as most of Avalanche is now destroyed. Oh, everything's lost.
Cloud says,
I've got unfinished business with Sephiroth.
And the crew,
we will go with you, they said.
While resting at night, the crew asks Cloud,
what's the mission?
Cloud says,
Cloud used to idolize Sephiroth and was the reason he joined Soldier in the first place. They eventually became best friends and went on missions together. Had a great time. Roll the vlog.
Hey guys, it's me and Sephiroth. We're out here today.
I just want to welcome you. I hope you're having a fantastic day.
Remember to smash that like button if you think we're hot.
But then they receive a mission to investigate an old Mako reactor that's also producing monsters. The mission was in Cloud's hometown of Nibelheim. I don't know how it's pronounced. I've only ever seen it written down. Once at the town, Sephiroth makes small talk. Oh, I have no family or hometown other than my mother, Genova. Barret points out that...
Mate, that was the name of the experiment in the Shinra building.
Continuing the story, Cloud looked for Tifa, but she wasn't home. So he decides to just steal her underwear to remember her by. He then looks around the town and he finds Tifa, and she leads these three to the Mako reactor. Once they reach it, Tifa and the infantrymen stay outside while Cloud and Sephiroth investigate. As they fix the problem, Sephiroth sees what Professor Hojo has been doing to try and reach the same level as Professor Gast. What does that mean?
Professor Gast is his predecessor, so he was the one who originally created soldiers. Hojo is trying to reach that level by making an even stronger soldier.
Right. Cloud peers inside one of the reactors, containing a monster. Sephiroth explains that soldiers are humans that have been sprinkled with Mako. However, these soldiers have taken far too much Mako, and now they have turned into monsters. But then, Sephiroth has an epiphany. Oh, because of the Mako, I am far stronger, thanks to Mr. Hojo. But am I really different from any of these monsters? After this mission, Sephiroth secludes himself in the Shinra mansion, reading the many research logs. Sephiroth learns that Professor Gast has found a new organism buried in a 2,000-year-old rock layer. He named it Genova. Oh, me mom! And confirmed it to be an ancient. Sephiroth read for days. Days and days he read books, until Cloud came in to check up on him. But by the time he got there, Sephiroth called him a traitor. What did I do? He explains that the planet was originally dominated by Cetra, who are ancients, okay, who would move around from place to place until they found the Promised Land.
However, some of the ancients got tired of the journey and settled down, leeching off the ancients' progress. These are the ancestors of us, humans.
Later on, a nondescript disaster struck, and the humans hid while the Cetra/ancients were sacrificed. Now the humans were the dominant species.
Finally!
About damn time. But then when the humans found Genova, they used her to produce more ancients. This is how Professor Gast created Sephiroth. Oh my god. Sephiroth leaves to see his mum.
On his way out of Nibelheim, Sephiroth starts a fiery warpath, burning Cloud's hometown to the ground. Cloud's mother and Tifa's father were killed in the accident.
Tifa grabbed her father's sword and rushed at Sephiroth. Sephiroth wrestled with the sword from her and slashed her. I'll take that. Cloud saves her and then chases after Sephiroth. Sephiroth discovers the real, unmutated face of Genova. He states, "Oh, I'm so disgusted with all the humans. Me and me mum will save the planet from the humans and become heroes for the ancients." So then Cloud and Sephiroth about to throw down. "Oh, I'm gonna fight you," he says. Then we leave the flashback. Cloud claims that, "All I can remember is that I'm pretty sure I didn't kill Sephiroth back then." Tifa, despite being there, is confused by Cloud's story. They all continue on anyway. They leave Midgar and ride Chocobo across the dangerous desert. Then they run into the Turks again. They're following Sephiroth to Junon Harbor. Along the way, they find a new team member, Yuffie, the ninja. Oh, Suki desu. They arrive in the rundown town of Junon.
They save a dolphin.
And then they go to sleep. But as Cloud tries to sleep, his inner monologue points out all the holes in his story that he told earlier. So he asks Tifa for the deets, but she says,
Oh, I can't remember.
but then she does tell him,
There's a parade for the new Shinra president, Rufus, and we should crash it.
so Cloud jumps on the dolphin that they saved earlier and rides it all the way to the upper levels of the Junon harbor. There he finds a large airship, and he sneaks onto the ship and finds a military uniform to blend in. He walks in their parade and gets right next to Rufus. And Cloud hears Rufus talking about Sephiroth crossing the ocean, and Professor Hojo has resigned. The crew stow away on Rufus's boat, but while sailing, something comes on board and starts killing all the crew members. Cloud doesn't think it's Sephiroth, but he's wrong, because Sephiroth starts floating up from the floor. Sephiroth doesn't even recognize Cloud, and he rushes past the crew saying that, oh, the time is right. Anyway, the ship carries on. Cue 3 seconds of sailing. And the ship docks at the Costa del Sol.
Here they find Professor Hojo, and he's surrounded by young ladies. He asks Cloud,
Do you ever feel like, because you're an ancient and stuff, now that Sephiroth's back, that you're like being pulled? Not like being pulled, but like you're being pulled? And Cloud says, I'm just going wherever Sephiroth is. Ares then asks,
Is Genova and Sephiroth ancients like I am?
and this makes Hojo nervous, and he says, you better go west.
They come across North Coral, a mining town destroyed by Shinra.
From here, they catch a train to the Golden Saucer, a fun-filled casino and minigame park. There, they come across a fortune-telling robot named Kate Sith. Catchy. I'm gonna go with Kate Sith. Kate Sith then tells Cloud, Ooh, I'm looking into me mystical balls. You will find what you want, but you will lose something close to you. Then Kate Sith joins the crew. Then they run to the owner of the Golden Saucer, Dio, and Dio says,
You remind me of somebody that was just here before.
Oh my god, there must be Sephiroth. However, as they leave, they come across a mass murder done by a man with a gun strapped to his arm, and Dio thinks that it was them, and he detains them. Oh, you did it. I know you did it. Then they are put in a desert prison. Barret tells them,
Mate, I've only met one other person, other than me, that has a gun on his arm, and his name was Dine.
in order to win their freedom, they must win a chocobo race. Why didn't Shinra just put them in a sand desert?
Got out by winning a chocobo race. It wouldn't have been very effective.
Why can you win your freedom in a chocobo? Alright. Of course, Cloud wins the chocobo race, and the gang is freed. Yay! Once out, Dio sends them a letter, and it says, Dear fellas,
I'm sorry I said you did a mass murder in my casino. It wasn't actually you. It was a lad named Dine with a gun strapped to his arm.
He also gives them a lead on Sephiroth and an off-road buggy. Along the way, they bump into the Turks again, who seem ready for him. The group wonders if there's a spy, but Cloud trusts everyone. They then move into Cosmo Canyon, where their buggy breaks down. But it turns out that Red 13, whose real name is Nanaki, is actually from here and can get them to the town. Red introduces them to Bugenhagen. Bugenhagen can hear the screams of the planet. And he claims that the extraction of Mako is killing it. In town, they get their buggy fixed. They head to Nibelheim, which is Cloud and Tifa's hometown. However, when they get there, they're shocked to find that it's completely normal and not burnt down. What's going on?
All of the residents seem to have disappeared, and the town is now filled with strange cloaked people. They continue into the Shinra mansion and find Sephiroth in the basement lab. He asks Cloud if he will join the reunion with Genova, whilst also confirming that she's not really an ancient.
He invites Cloud to meet with him in the north and flies away. They continue to follow Sephiroth's trail. They come across Rocket Town, named after the team. They spot a small plane and they aim to steal it. But they're informed by a lady named Shira that the captain is in his rocket ship, and they're expecting President Rufus soon to check on things. So they go to the captain, and his name is Sid, and he refuses to give them the plane. He tells the story of Shinra, and that they developed weapons and space travel before going into electricity and never looking back. That saddens Sid. He hopes one day that he'll be able to take take a rocket to the moon. Then things are interrupted because Rufus arrives and he wants Sid's plane to take him across the ocean after Sephiroth. Sid's fed up with them taking everything. You're always taking my planes and my rocket ships. I want to go to the moon. But while he's complaining, Palmer makes a dash for the plane. The crew stops him, however, and they steal the plane for themselves instead. Is a plane like the most valuable commodity in this entire world?
Sephiroth has also gone across the ocean. One of them could, sail.
I've seen helicopters and boats and flying people, and now they're scrambling for this, biplane? As they take off, Sid jumps in the back and joins the crew. But as they fly away, they're shot out of the sky and they land in the ocean. But the plane could still be used as a boat, so they continue on. They could have used a boat the whole fucking time. New scene! Once back on land, Yuffie leads the group to an ambush where she reveals, "Haha, I am a spy! Haha, watashi wa supai desu!" And Yuffie steals the materia. Then they go to Wutai and take it back. Then she comes along and joins the crew again. "Oh, sorry, I was a spy. Oku no gomain nasai." Continuing on, they hear that Dio of the Golden Plate has a keystone and that it will open the temple of the ancients. So they go to some arena thing and they put on a good show and then they win it from him. They retire for the night. There's like 10 people in the crew and they go, "Oi, what's this mission exactly?" Quick recap. We're hunting Sephiroth. At night, Cloud goes out to walk around and see some of the theater and the fireworks. But on his way back, he spots Kate Sith with the keystone that they just earned. What the fuck? Are you a spy too? He chases Cat Sith down, but it's too late and he tosses the keystone to the Turks. Holy shit, he was a spy. Kate Sith says, "I can see in the very near past you have been betrayed by a spy, and it was me." And actually, surprise, fellas, these a remote control toy run by somebody in the Shinra headquarters. And then he pulls a Yuffie and says,
"Can I stay on the crew and act like nothing happened? Beep boop."
Cloud doesn't really know what to do, but Kate Sith reveals,
"We have Marlene hostage, so you're actually forced to look the other way.
But as consolation, he says,
I will lead you to the Temple of the Ancients, although you will arrive after my boss, Shinra."
So, they go to the temple. The Turks are in there, and they tell the crew that Sephiroth is not actually trying to find the Promised Land. So they go into the cave, and further in, Aerith can feel the spirits talking to her from a literal pool of consciousness. She talks to the pool of water that goes into like a mind palace, and she sees everything that's happened. In the flashback thing, the Turks are looking at murals when Sephiroth shows up. Sephiroth informs the Turks that he's trying to become one with the planet via the wisdom held within this temple and absorb the very power of the life stream itself. Then he kills the Turk as an invitation to return to the life stream. Over 300 concurrent viewers on the life stream. Please hit the sub button. Why doesn't IH live stream anymore? Then we leave the flashback scene and the crew finds the murals themselves. And Sephiroth is there. He explains that whenever the planet is hurt, the amount of spirit energy changes depending on the size of the injury. But Sephiroth's plan is to threaten the very life of the planet itself and be at the center of that injury. When that happens, the planet's spirit energy will merge with him and he will become godlike. But how are you going to do that, Sephiroth? Well, you see, this temple allows me to summon a destructive magic meteor, causing the injury that Sephiroth wants. Dun 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 dun. Then Sephiroth flies away. Suddenly, Cloud is possessed. He says, "Oh, I know the way," and then he snaps out of it 2 seconds late.
They then find a puzzle within the temple and realize for every puzzle they solve, the temple gets smaller. They want to shrink the temple to pocket size so it can be transported, which means leaving a crew member inside to solve the puzzles, but crushing them in the process.
But Cloud rationalizes that someone has to do it, otherwise Sephiroth will bring his minions who will do it for him. So Cat Sith volunteers. I'm just a remote-controlled robot anyway.
Cloud and the gang reluctantly agree. Outside, they see the temple shrink to a carry size. They also realize that none of them have the spiritual power to actually use the temple, but Sephiroth shouldn't either, as he technically isn't an ancient.
Then Sephiroth appears and he says, "Well, actually, I'm better than an ancient because I'm a traveler of the life stream, and I've gained the wisdom of the ancients, which is actually way better. You don't know. The ancients are so mainstream." As a demonstration of his control, Sephiroth possesses Cloud, and he forces him to hand over of the temple. Sephiroth then leaves, and Cloud's like, oh, I fucking suck. Ares tries to comfort him. It's alright, stupid. But Cloud instead pushes her down and says, fuck off, bitch. And he starts wailing on her. Then Tifa says no, and she knocks Cloud out, she does. Then Cat Sith's body replacement rocks up. While Cloud is knocked out, he has a dream where he apologizes to Aerith. Aerith isn't mad, and she tells Cloud she'll deal with Sephiroth as she is the last of the ancients. He then says goodbye, but then he hears Sephiroth's voice in a dream telling him to stop Aerith.
Cloud wakes up and they pursue Aerith to the city of the ancients. They make it and they see Aerith praying. Cloud insists on approaching her alone despite being the only one in the crew that has wailed on her.
Cloud is suddenly possessed again, and he goes to chop Aerith's head off. But just before he does, his friends scream,
Cloud, please, no.
Why don't you quit that, he says. And Sephiroth's very mad about that, so he comes down and he finishes the job, and Aerith dies. As she dies, her inner materia falls into the life stream.
Cloud is angry, which amuses Sephiroth. He sets a monster on them, which they defeat. Afterwards, Sephiroth tells Cloud, hey bro, you're just a puppet, eh?
Then they lay Aerith to rest. It's very sad. Anyway, the group continues onto the snowy fields where they find an old research lab with the records of Professor Gast. They see a video of Aerith's birth mother talking to Dr. Gast.
In the video, Gast explains, the Cetra came here after they heard a cry for help. Something fell from the sky, causing a giant crater. Once this happened, the planet pulled the spirit energy to help heal itself, but it told the Cetra to go away because it's a strong, independent planet and it don't need no Cetra. Before they could go though, a shapeshifter, which they called Crisis from the Sky, or as we better know it, Genova, appeared as friends and family and infected the Cetra. It made them go insane and turned them into monsters.
Oh, that's the worst.
In a separate conversation, they also talk about Weapon, which are giant living weapons designed to destroy the Crisis from the Sky created by the Cetra. They've never been used though, as by the time they were complete, the Cetra had already contained the Crisis from the Sky, currently laying dormant on the planet, waiting for shit to fuck up.
It's also revealed that Gast is Aerith's father. Then Hojo came in to do some experiments on the family, and he killed Gast.
Out of the flashback, Cloud and the gang snowboard to the crater.
At the same time, Rufus and Hojo are arriving on an airship. Sephiroth is also here, but Sephiroth thinks it's about time to upgrade bodies. Also, anything with Genova cells on it will obey him. The crew then fight Sephiroth as he turns into a Genova creature.
They regain the black materia, also known as our pocket-sized temple. Then they realize that they haven't really been chasing Sephiroth, but a shape-shifting Genova.
That's lame. Now, Cloud doesn't really trust himself with the black materia. He's easily possessed, you see. Suggestible type. He hands it off to one of the crew members. Then as they get closer, they enter an illusion of Nibelheim, which Cloud is pretty sure is fake.
As it plays through though, it becomes clear that this isn't fake, and it's actually a flashback of the burning of Nibelheim. Cloud still refuses to believe any of it though. Not only are you easily possessed, you're also fucking stubborn.
Then Sephiroth appears, and he tells Cloud it's actually an illusion in his memory, and this is what really happened. After this event, Cloud was taken by Hojo, and he was rebuilt with Genova cells, but he was deemed a failure by Hojo. He's Vegeta to the Goku. Tifa is scared. Because Cloud has Genova cells, he can shapeshift and be implanted with fake memories. Cloud is a random stranger with a persona crafted from Tifa's memories, and Sephiroth proves that this is true by showing a photo taken at Nibelheim. The photo taken on that fateful day shows Sephiroth, Tifa, and a man with black hair instead of Cloud.
Who the fuck is that?
Cloud denies this, stating, no, my memory's from Soldier. I remember being there and boot camp, and the food was terrible. But as he tries to recall more details, he comes short. Surely he would remember something else, but he can't.
Meanwhile, Rufus and Hojo are getting ready to watch the awakening of the weapon. Then, the whole crew is just transported to the same spot as Rufus and Hojo. Cloud is then possessed.
He takes the black materia from the crew, and then he says, oh, fuck, I don't know, sorry again. I hope that you find the real Cloud. And then he's collected by Sephiroth. Jump in the car, Cloud. We're gonna go save the world. Hojo then explains that Cloud is a failed Sephiroth clone after the real Sephiroth died 5 years ago.
Hojo then states his theory was correct of Genova pieces rejoining and becoming one again. Cloud realizes that he hasn't been chasing Sephiroth, but rather being called by him.
Do you feel like pull? Remember that fucking accent? Yeah. At this time, the real Sephiroth comes out of the pod thing. He's always just showing up. Cloud gives the Black Materia Temple to Sephiroth, and everything is collapsing. Oh my god, we gotta get out of here.
Rufus gets everyone out just in time, and then the weapon awakens and shoots off into the far corners of the world. Tifa is knocked out and relives some real Cloud memories, because that's what happens when I get knocked out. I relive other people's memories.
He wakes up 7 days later. Shinra's captured her and Barret. Sephiroth is still in the crater, protected by a barrier of life, and the weapons are running amok.
Sephiroth has also summoned the meteor, which is on its way to destroy the planet. Rufus comes in to collect the two for their execution, but right as this happens, the weapon attacks Shinra. Amidst the attack, the crew steal the Highwind, which is a glorified blimp, and escape. And then once again, because Cloud is missing, they're confused about what to do next.
So they go and they find Cloud, but his brain ain't working because he's had too much Mako. Tifa stays behind to help Cloud while the rest of the crew moves on with the mission. Boy, Cloud sucks. He just gives away all the materia all the time. He makes up stories about how great he is. Kate Sith then says, by the way, Shinra plans to attack the meteor head on with a large ball of materia. The group is still trying to stop Shinra, and they want to use the materia to fight Sephiroth rather than blowing up the meteor. So then they go to different locations and they get some materia, but not all the materia they need, and then they go and they check on Cloud and Tifa and they seem fine. Then when they're walking around the town, not only is the lifestream threatening to erupt underneath the ground, but one of the weapons actually attacks the town itself. The crew then fends off the weapon, but the lifestream still tears out the ground.
Tifa and Cloud are about to escape, but the ground gives way beneath them and they fall into the lifestream. Tifa is now inside Cloud's subconscious, where he's trying to pull himself together. Fuck is happening. I'm going into your subconscious. What?
Inside are his true, unfiltered memories. He did join Soldier. He did it to become strong and to impress Tifa, because you got the big titties. But in Nibelheim, it wasn't Cloud who visited with Sephiroth. Cloud remembers that it was actually a young soldier named Zack in Nibelheim that day. Cloud himself was actually there that day, and he was a lonely Shinra infantryman.
He hid his face from Tifa as he told everyone he would join Soldier and couldn't face the embarrassment of being in Soldier but not quite the high rank.
Still, he really did come to Tifa's rescue as promised, and when Zack fought Sephiroth and stuff, Cloud fought him, throwing him into the lifestream, presumably killing him. Then he recuperates from his mental breakdown. Haha.
The crew is there when he wakes up, and Cloud sets the record straight on his delusion. His strength comes from Hojo's experiment, and his first-class soldier persona is based on Zack. We then get another flashback to Nibelheim, with Shinra rebuilt to mask the Sephiroth incident and turned the remaining townfolk into Sephiroth clone experiments.
He recalls that after this, Zack and Cloud were taken by Hojo to be like on par with Sephiroth.
Zack wasn't a fan of this though, and he said, you know what, fuck this, I'm breaking Cloud and I out. But Cloud has Mako poisoning and is mentally broken because apparently he spent half the game like this.
Oh, he's just the worst. I need my medicine. Shut up, Cloud.
Zack then changes him into his spare first-class uniform and tries to keep him safe on the journey back to Midgard.
Boy, this Zack guy is really the hero. I like Zack. He would have saved Eris too. Fun fact, did you know that Cloud and Titus from Final Fantasy X are actually the same character?
I didn't.
It's set in a different world, isn't it? Zack has planned to become a mercenary after this incident. I'm so disillusioned by this whole thing, I'm gonna do killing for pay. But then he was chased down by the Shinra army and killed.
They spared Cloud.
Cloud then crawls over Zack and takes his sword and his identity.
Foul swoop, 1-2. Out of the flashback, they head to Junon.
Then they destroy an underwater sub with materia. Then they follow a transport plane back to Rocket Town. But oh no, what's this? Shinra is there, and they're getting ready to launch the rocket. It's got the materia bomb on it. It's already loaded. Here we go.
When Sid sees that it's his crew, he stops them. Oi! No takeoff without me. I've been waiting for this for years.
So he jumps on the rocket and he flies into outer space to hit the meteor.
Once in space, they realize that Palmer has actually locked them on to hit the meteor and they can't override it.
Uh-oh, we're gonna 9/11 the meteor. Yup.
Then they go, okay, shit. let's steal the materia and get into an escape pod, head on back down to Earth, and because they've taken all the materia, the rocket now just does nothing.
So almost no damage is done to the meteor at all. And with the materia in hand, they hear the planet scream, as Bugenhagen had said it would. And they decide to consult him. Hey, Bugenhagen, tell me some stuff.
They give Bugenhagen the huge materia for safekeeping, and they also take him to the City of Ancients to explain what Aerith was trying to do when she was killed.
They learn of the ancient magic, the white holy magic, and that it's the only thing that they can hope to stop the meteor. Fucking Deus Ex Machina magic. Also, if a soul-seeking holy reaches the planet, it will wipe out the meteor. Convenient. But also everything else, including humans. Only way to avoid this is to pray to the planet, oh please, and do so through the white materia, which will go green if accepted. Aerith has the white materia which she dropped when she died, and it had turned green. So she had succeeded at the last minute in sparing the humans.
Now I know what you're probably thinking, if she dropped it when she died, what's going on? Well, that would be because Sephiroth is holding the holy in with his magical powers.
Then they receive word that Shinra is going to use a big cannon by moving it to Midgar and powering it with Mako.
At the same time as they're moving the cannon, another weapon rises from the ocean and begins towards Midgar. The crew fights the weapon, trying to slow it down.
And Shinra is getting ready to fire the Mako, and they use all the Mako in the city to do it. And as the cannon fires, so too does the weapon. The crew witnesses the attacks cross each other, and the weapon is pierced by the cannon, pushing it back, destroying Sephiroth's barrier. However, the weapon keeps attacking, and it hits the Shinra HQ and kills Rufus, not Rufus.
The barrier is now open, and Hojo is hijacking the cannon, planning to give Sephiroth all the Mako he wants.
Then Katseth goes, by the way, my name is Reeve, and I work at Shinra. Now, Reeve believes that the cannon will level Midgar, but he can't stop the cannon because Scarlet and Heidgar are preventing him because they think that the president is dead, and they have taken control of the company. Reeve then urges the crew to save Midgar, you gotta do it, and now they're going to stop Hojo. So they're in a blimp, and then they parachute in, and they fight the Turks for the last time, and they destroy Scarlet and Heidgar, who are in a robot together, and then they confront Hojo. And then Hojo says,
I'm actually Sephiroth's father.
What?
To participate
it's like that
in Garth's
scene
Genova
from
project?
Star Wars.
It's exactly
Remember?
like Star
when
Wars.
Darth Vader's like, oh, Obi-Wan, you're my dad? And Genova cells were implanted in my wife's womb. How did he do that? Did he just get one part spooge, one part Genova cells, and then a turkey baster? Is that the... How else is it done? You tell me. Anyway, then he injects himself with the Genova cells. It's the new vaccine, fellas. And he fights the crew. The crew then kill him to stop the cannon from overloading. Then they get back on the blimp.
Back on the blimp, they all have a little reflective moment on why they're here.
Then they go to sleep for the night. And Tifa and Cloud do it.
Grab the Geneva cells and the turkey baster and let's do this.
There's Genova cells everywhere. I did an ultrasound. It's gonna be a Genova. The next morning they wake up. It's time to go face off with Sephiroth.
They fight monsters along the way, and then they face the complete form of Genova, which they kill, and the alien menace is destroyed forever.
Forever and ever?
Ever and ever. After they defeat Geneva, the ground caves in and they fall towards the Holy.
Oh no, that's the worst.
Sephiroth is there, holding it back.
I'll hold it back.
He begins evolving
I'm holding it.
and becoming bigger and stronger.
He's enormous strength.
But the crew still defeat him. Now they just have
defeated me.
Now they just have to wait for the Holy to do its thing. But as they go to leave, Sephiroth, being a sore loser,
I surprised you.
reaches out from the live stream and has a mental duel with Cloud. And
Boy, this is a really long video. We're both getting pretty tired.
Cloud defeats Sephiroth and frees the mental shackles that Sephiroth had over him.
I'm gonna break these chains.
He snaps back to the reality, and he and Tifa escape the
Whoa, there goes
cabin.
gravity.
The high wind falls in with them. They climb aboard, the Holy erupts out, pushing the high wind
it's
and
everywhere.
the crew out.
It's all over me, it's sticky.
Then they fly away. The meteor is just about to fall.
Oh, it's
when
the worst.
Eris Holy comes in and blocks that meteor.
Appreciate that, Aerith.
But that hole is not strong enough and it breaks
Oh, Aerith, what's the point?
through. Then the planet saves itself by taking the live stream and
The
blowing
whole
up the
thing
meteor.
was in vain.
Could have just let the planet sort itself out.
You could have just watched TV the whole time.
We cut to 500 years later, and we see Red 13 prowling across a healthy-looking land.
It's pretty nice.
The end.